Mackenzie Johnston with Cattle News Central, bringing you your October 28th cattle industry headlines. Brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. PRF season is here, and their advisors are educated and ready to help you mitigate weather risk. Their state-of-the-art technology and superb customer service ensures that your policy is in good hands. The PRF deadline is December 1st, so if you would like additional information, be sure to reach out to an advisor today. Ag Risk Advisors, with you no matter what the weather. Also sponsored by Circle 5 Cow School. They host remote weekly classes all throughout the Midwest, so you can learn to preg check your own cows. To view their schedule, head on over to circle5cowschool.com. That is the number 5 in there, or you can go ahead and just give them a follow on Facebook. According to drovers, wholesale beef prices climbed 14.2% from July to August of this year. And price projections point to a possible 20% increase in wholesale beef prices this year, according to an updated Consumer Price Index report, a CPI report, that is released by the USDA. Meat is not the only grocery item that is seeing price increases. We have all seen it in the grocery store. Everything is up. However, meat is leading the way. So far this year, beef and veal prices have increased 6.5% compared to last year. Prices in September were up 17.6% compared to September 2020. Pork prices are also in the same boat with an increase of 6.3% so far this year. Just in September, pork increased 12.7% compared to the same period last year. When it comes to pork, bacon is leading the way with sky-high prices. If you look back at bacon prices before the pandemic compared to now, prices today are anywhere between 30 to 40% higher. Economists who compiled the CPI report claim that prices are driven by international and domestic demand, labor shortages, supply chain disruptions, and high feed and other input costs. Additionally, winter storms and drought impacted meat prices this past spring, and processing facility closures due to cybersecurity attacks impacted beef and other meat production in May, according to economists. One of the most interesting statements that was reiterated time and time again in this report was the fact that consolidation in the meat industry is not causing these high prices. The report stated that consolidation, it does have the opportunity or the ability to affect prices. However, the level of consolidation has not changed that much in recent years for it to really have a significant impact on prices. The report contradicts the Biden administration's recent statements about consolidation, how it is impacting meat prices. Jason Lusk, ag economist at Purdue University, said that even though protein prices are racing higher at the grocery store, he doesn't expect the higher prices to scare away the record domestic demand that we have seen so far this year. And I would have to disagree with Mr. Lusk. There will be a point where Americans cannot afford beef. It comes down to a price point. Our economy is in a rut. Things continue to get a little sketchier all the time, and people aren't going to have money. And when they can't afford a certain protein, such as beef in this situation, they will change to something else, something cheaper, whether it be pork or poultry, God forbid, something like plant-based protein. And once we lose that beef demand, it is incredibly hard to get it back. So yes, there will come a point when beef demand starts to drop off. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here later in this report. Business Insider has reported that Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary for the Biden administration, has proposed a tax on unrealized capital gains. So as you and I both know, but just to touch on it quick, capital gains tax is a tax on the profit that investors realize on the sale of their assets. We've all been down the road of capital gains, we've dealt with it, or we at least know what it is. So what Yellen wants to do is to make people pay a tax on the increase in the value of an asset every year, even if that asset isn't sold. So this could be land, your home, cattle, stocks, anything that appreciates in value. She wants you to pay a tax on, even if you don't sell that. The Biden administration has come out and said that this tax will only target the super rich. And yes, that is how it will start. God forbid if they actually get this through. That is how it will start. It will start out with the super rich. And the government, they'll have their foot in the door and they will implement this on the super rich. But then they will somehow push their shoulder into that door and then just crack it open a little bit more and continue to crack it open until they get all the way through that door and they have this tax implemented on every American. It's just like anything in life. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And it's even more so with the government, I'd have to say. They get a little bit of this tax and then they just want more and more and more. And it will not just stay on the super rich. It will come to you and me and everyone else if they get this through. And it will be detrimental to say the least. The Biden administration is wanting to raise its tax revenue to pay for that $3.5 trillion spending bill, also known as the Build Back Better bill that we have talked about numerous times on here. So as you and I both know, there will be loopholes, which thank goodness. But anyways, there will be loopholes. Individuals and or businesses will find a way to avoid this tax, even just marginally. If they find a little bit to get away from this tax, they will get it done. So my point with that is the Biden administration keeps on talking about how they need to implement these taxes to pay for this outrageous bill, $3.5 trillion. And these taxes that they're implementing, they will cover the cost of this bill, but they won't. They won't, because they are saying we will have this certain amount of revenue coming into the government, but that certain amount of revenue isn't what it's actually going to be. What they're saying is not what it's actually going to be, because people will find a way around this. And at the end of the day, we don't have a way to pay for that $3.5 trillion Build Back Better bill. So all of it together, as you and I both know, is just a complete mess. And the thought of taxing people on unrealized gains, unrealized capital gains, is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. You think things are bad now. My gosh, it would be horrendous. Meeting Place has reported that last week, a federal grand jury in Los Angeles charged Representative Jeff Fortenberry, a Republican from here in Nebraska, with concealing information and making false statements to federal authorities investigating contributions made by Gilbert Chagoury, a foreign national, to the congressman's 2016 re-election campaign. Chagoury allegedly arranged for $30,000 of his money to be contributed through other individuals to Fortenberry's campaign during a fundraiser in Los Angeles. This indictment claims that the congressman repeatedly lied and misled authorities during a federal investigation into Chagoury's illegal contributions. It is illegal for a foreign national to make contributions to a federal campaign or for the source of campaign contributions to be disguised by funneling the money through third-party conduits. In a YouTube video, Fortenberry denies knowing anything about the money being moved illegally to his campaign or lying to investigators, and said that he would fight these charges. The 3 felony charges of indictment each carry a maximum penalty of 5 years in federal prison. Finally, the Livestock Marketing Information Center has reported that beef per capita consumption is expected to trend lower over the next few years. This year, beef per capita consumption is expected to be right around 57.9 pounds, which is lower than what we had back in 2020 at 58.4 pounds. So again, in my opinion, we will continue to see beef consumption decline with these incredibly high prices at the meat counter, which is unfortunate on so many levels. That's all I have for you guys this morning. I hope everyone's week is going well. Have yourself a tremendous Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow morning.